Hey, I'm Mike Priest, the founder and CEO of Visible. As you scale your company, having the right guides at your side can make all of the difference. Each episode, we'll talk to fellow founders, investors, and experts. We'll dive into their zone of genius, as well as hear about their past mistakes to give you a better chance at success. This podcast is for founders by founders. This is The Founders Forward.
All right, cool. Trey, so first things first, would love to just get this started with you introducing yourself and giving us the 1-minute elevator pitch on Amplio.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Clay. So I'm Trey Closson. I am based in Atlanta. I am co-founder and CEO for Amplio. I am most recently coming from Georgia Pacific. I was leading the international logistics capability at GP, and then before that, had experience with Flexport, $8 billion logistics startup. So my entire career has been in logistics and supply chain, living, breathing, and sometimes feeling like I'm dying because of the supply chain difficulties. And we started Amplio really to solve the problems that I experienced firsthand, and I saw others, my customers experiencing. So Amplio is building resilience in our customer supply chains by detecting risk of material shortages across our customers' parts, products, and suppliers, by extracting our customers' purchasing patterns, augmenting that with supplier data, and then creating a risk signal or a risk score for each of their parts. And once one of our users recognizes that they have a risk of a material shortage, we connect them with alternative sources of supply so that they're able to ensure that they maintain the continuity of supply and don't ever have a line down situation with their production.
Nice. We I didn't even send over a question on this, but just going kind of off script. I know supply chain shortages have kind of been like a macro issue now for the past 6, 7, 8, 9 months. Do you want to just give like a high level overview on why we're having supply chain shortages in the States and what some of the ramifications of that could be for just everyday consumers?
Yeah, for sure. So this is an incredibly fascinating problem in the U.S. economy and the global economy, and it's a confluence of a number of factors. So the supply chain is a complex adaptive system. There are a number of variables that are interacting on a daily basis, and so it's almost impossible to completely unwind how we've arrived where we've arrived. But the main factors that have led to where we are right now, the biggest, of course, is COVID. So when organizations shut down at the very beginning of COVID, it stopped the regular supply of goods and materials. And one of the really interesting facets of that is that most of the goods that we buy and that we're using on a daily basis arrive into the U.S. via ocean freight transportation. And so when COVID shut the world down, these vessels that are normally moving around the world in an orchestrated ballet stopped for about 2 to 3 months. So there was no product coming in, no product in large part going back out, and so it disrupted the normal flow of goods. Then with the financial stimulus that was interjected into the economy, we were all at home, had nothing to do. And so people started, me included, started using all the excess money to buy physical goods. And so the demand increased, accelerated, skyrocketed for physical products. And there just isn't infrastructure in the world supply chain to be able to deal with all the goods and the physical products that we're moving around the world. And so those are really the two biggest factors that have resulted into where we are. And then specifically thinking about Amplio, we're targeting the electronics ecosystem. And it's really that accelerated demand that is crippling the supply chain in the electronics ecosystem, where demand for semiconductors and transistors and connectors has accelerated so much over the last several years. There just isn't enough supply in the market to be able to match the demand that consumers have for connected products. I saw very recently a sofa that has a semiconductor in it to measure weight and changes in weight for the people that are sitting on the sofa. And so literally everything is going to be connected in the near future. So as the demand continues to accelerate, it's going to be increasingly difficult to find the right supply to match that demand.
Huh. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I've understood at like a very basic level, like why there's supply chain shortages. I haven't gone that deep though, but you obviously have. So that's really helpful. That's kind of the macro, but getting back to Amplio, how long have you guys been around?
We launched last summer. So
Okay.
we launched from High Alpha Innovation and Koch Industries as part of a venture studio and launched last summer.
Nice. Nice. Been around almost a year.
Yep.
You want to talk through getting over the cold start problem and just acquiring the first customer? Like, what was that process like?
Yeah. So I have the benefit from coming from within Koch Industries. I was able to make strong connections with folks as we were dealing with supply chain crises, and so was able to form relationships before launching Amplio that have been able to result in the first customer, and then same thing with subsequent customers as well. It's really drawing from within my network that I've built and that Taha has built in our experiences previously. So mine coming from Flexport and Kuehne+Nagel. So basically called up the people that I knew and said that I was starting a startup to address supply chain risk at detecting these material shortages, and was able to work together with some visionaries that were experiencing the problem and were willing to be design partners with us early on.
Nice. So what's that process like in terms of, I guess, a sales cycle of like, huge benefit of getting to know them and having a relationship before reaching out with an ask. But then from that point forward, like how many steps are involved just to get them to say yes to be a design partner and maybe get their logo on the website?
Yeah. So we believe really strongly that when people use our product, that they will want to engage in a long-term relationship with us. And so we really prioritize getting customer data, getting them using our product as quickly as possible. And so we've built a pilot program where we take customer data, upload it into our platform, allow users to use it for 30 to 45 days so that they have a turnover of inventory, and they're really able to see the value of detecting the material shortages and then our ability to connect them with alternative sources of supply. So we believe so strongly in that pilot program that we want as many people running pilots with us as possible, so that we can convert then to a long-term relationship with them. And so as we continue to build out the customer base for Amplio, it's really connecting with folks that are in our network, but then also in the networks of our customers. The long-term value of Amplio is our ability to build data network effects. And so as each new supplier, each new customer comes on board, each new part comes on board in our platform, it automatically makes the value of the risk score that much more valuable for our customer base. And so the model is being enriched over time, and it's creating value for everybody that's in the network. So the goal is really to create this virtuous cycle of folks that are within our customer network.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you all monetize just through subscription model?
Yeah, so currently we're monetizing through a SaaS subscription, and then we're also building a marketplace as well that we will monetize.
Nice. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, anytime you're selling subscription and you can, like, you're saving your customers money and you can just like package up the offering, it's just like a no-brainer solution. It's like, yeah, like, we're going to charge X, we're going to save you like 10X of that. And you could provide data for that of just like cost savings. It just makes that decision of like selling the software so much easier. I was wondering if you have like any plans to do that with all the data capture you're capturing right now from
Yeah.
from the pilot customers.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest challenges that I've seen, and Taha, my co-founder, has seen with SaaS products in the supply chain world is the ability to demonstrate ROI. And so that's something that we've thought really deeply about early on in building Amplio. And so the way that we're measuring ROI for our customers is against their purchase price variance. So that's essentially what's the price at which their parts have been designed into their supply chain, and then what's the price at which they're actually buying and securing that inventory. And so our ability to deliver value is the ability to drive that purchase price variance down as close to what the design price is for that part.
Yeah, it's interesting. Have you thought about including like some public facing like pricing calculator or like cost savings calculator on the website, just as like almost a growth tool when you think about expansion? It's just like qualified customer comes to the website, they're able to plug in like 3-4 variables and it populates it. Like, oh, I'm able to save this much. Like I should have a demo call.
That's really interesting. We hadn't thought about that, but that's actually a really great idea. We have the data available, so that would be a great way to capture growth pretty quickly. It's an awesome idea.
Yeah, I'll try to shoot you over. I was literally just looking at a company the other day that does something similar, like white labeled service, just lets you like plug in to your website, just like embed this directly wherever you want. And it's just like
that's fascinating.
I'll shoot that over right after this. Cool. I'm jumping all over the place with questions, but
no worries.
you've been doing this for a while. What is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody starting a company?
Yeah, so I'm not great at following rules, so I have two pieces of advice. One is product related, and one is personal. So the first one, product related. Starting a startup, the value and competitive advantage of startups is the ability to move quickly and iterate quickly. And so with that, there are so many opportunities to pursue, but incredibly limited resources. So there's only a few people on our team. So the number one piece of advice that Taha and I have received and are now executing on is just relentless focus. So there is one thing that we need to be prioritizing each week. There's one thing that we need to be prioritizing each month, and one thing we need to be prioritizing each quarter. And other priorities are great, but unless we're executing against that number one priority, then we've lost focus. And so it is easy to get distracted by the shiny objects that are around. But it is really critical to think about what is the primary focus? What's the thing that can kill me and kill the company, and then ensure that doesn't happen. And then the piece of advice on the personal side is investing in community. So I think that it can sometimes feel like a lonely role to be working in a startup. The reality is that there are many people that work in startups and have done this. And so it's actually not that isolating and lonely. And there are a number of people that care. And so it is a long journey. Founders need to be resilient in the face of the ups and downs of life in a startup. And so it's really critical to invest ideally before you start something in community. And if you don't have that, then it's important after starting to invest in community to make sure that you're engaged with other people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, for the first point, I think having conviction is a superpower. I mean, people's attention spans are going to continue to go down. It's literally like, I think the average attention span now is like 8 seconds. Like we're goldfish at this point.
Yeah.
For the second one, like I've been really interested just watching these community-based businesses grow, or like having community as a strategy, as like a go-to-market strategy. It's really interesting. So I think that's a good piece of feedback too. Have you guys thought through incorporating like a community layer to Amplio? Like, have you thought through like best ways to engage customers and allow them to interact with each other to just exchange value?
Yeah, so we have thought through that, and one of the challenges is that some of the folks are going to be competitive with each other, and so we're trying to think through ways of creating a community environment where it's not necessarily crossing boundaries, but I think it's really critical. So in my world, using supply chain SaaS products and working with organizations, I got so much value of doing discovery with these folks, where it essentially was like a therapy session where I talked about all the things that were difficult with my job, and then they asked questions and we're able to help solve some of those problems. And so that's, if we're not able to create a community where we're connecting our users together, at a minimum, the desire is for our product managers and go-to-market team to have such high empathy for our customers that they find value in every interaction and feel as though they've been heard, and that we're actually building products to help solve the pain that they're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think like starting a community strategy is, I think it's a competitive advantage, but the downside of that is just like, it is a ton of work. Like,
yes.
Ton of work. And a lot of it goes unrecognized.
Yep.
But it's interesting.
Yep. That is correct.
What is a small change that you've made that's made a big difference in your life?
Yeah, so I think it's really similarly related to the advice that I shared previously, but it's investing in myself. So I need to, as a founder, I need to be resilient, and I need to. There are a lot of sprints that are happening, but building Amplio is much more of a marathon, and so I need to be taking care of myself. And so some of the changes that I've made, I prioritize family time, prioritize exercise, and prioritize just my emotional health, so that I can be resilient for the business and for my team, and then build for the long run. And so I've worked in organizations where the workload has been really high, and just have prioritized work over what I just mentioned. And I decided early on with Amplio that the best way for me to be most effective was to make sure that I was taking care of myself beforehand.
Yeah, I feel like everything else just falls into place after that.
Yeah.
Man, it's you rarely meet somebody that has like the first two pieces of that equation, like family and like personal, like health down, and then like they're struggling with the third. I don't know. Personally, I totally agree with it. Like, I would much rather have like good relationships with my family, be in good physical health, because then like if those matter, like everything else is kind of secondary.
Yeah, exactly. And one exercise that I go through on a yearly basis, or when making big decisions, is fearscaping. So I think through what's the worst that can happen if this goes sideways, and as long as I have my family and my health, then there's really no like major worst case scenario, and can operate through anything. And so that gives a lot of confidence and power and freedom to be able to be effective.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. If you had one ask for our listeners, what would it be?
Yeah, so I think in the evolution right now of Amplio is we are prioritizing listening to customers, understanding the challenges and the pain that they're going through. And so if folks that are listening operate in the supply chain world and want to chat with us about the challenges they're experiencing, and would be open to a short therapy session, I'd love to chat with them and see if we can build something for them.
Yeah. Have you narrowed down like ideal customer profile at all? Is it like pretty general, like anybody with supply chain issues, or is it more granular than that?
Yeah, so we're focusing in the electronics industry. So we're focusing on electronics component suppliers, manufacturers, and those that are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, have globally complex supply chains, and are experiencing these supply chain challenges. So that's our first target market, is the electronics world.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you fit that bill, give Trey a shout out.
Please.
Cool, man. I told you I didn't want to eat up too much of your time. That runs through all the questions for me.
Cool.
Anything else I can help with though, or still on the line? Like, I guess it sounds like you're all checked out with fundraising stuff. I would say I could offer up intros if you're up for it, but I don't want to distract you because I know fundraising sucks. Anything else you need help with though, like consider us a resource. Like, I'm happy to lend a hand where I can.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think right now I was going to say we're good. There's a lot to do, but I think we're good with fundraising, and similarly, I've really valued the visible product. So if there's anything I can do to help y'all, just let me know.
Yeah. Any other founders that want help streamlining investor communication?
Yeah. So I'm a part of a co-working space in Atlanta that is mostly entrepreneurs, and so I'll send a blurb out to
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Have you do you interact a lot with there's a Techstars Atlanta office, isn't there?
There is. I know people that are there. I don't really interact with the program very much. But I'm trying to get more engaged there.
Cool. Yeah, I used to, like when I was living in Charlotte, I used to go down there for demo days.
Oh, cool.
Fairly often. Yeah, I've been back down to Atlanta in a minute. Probably good time to get back. It's been a while.
It is approaching the best time to come to Atlanta, where it's not too cold, not too hot. Weather's beautiful, restaurants are amazing.
Yeah.
It's a
June,
good time
July,
to come down.
August. I've done the South in the summer, and it's like the time you want to get out. So I got
you don't want to come during that time.
Too humid.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, man. I appreciate you saying yes. This has been fun.
Yeah.
We will clean this up, and I'll shoot something over to you just so you get a chance to go through it. Just make sure we're all good before we shoot anything out.
Okay.
Then yeah, we can just go from there.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Clay.
Cool. Thanks, Trey.
Yep. Take care. See ya.
Later.